Afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
We are pre-recording this video on September 14th to be posted at 1 p.m. on September 22nd. Today we have a special blog post where we are going to be discussing entertainment comparisons of various TV show episodes or TV movies, etc. A few things to note. If you are not interested in Friends in Cougar Town, please shut off the video after we finish talking about Daisy Jones and the Six. And um, I would also like to say that in an interview that happened after Matthew Perry died, Marta Kaufman said that two ways that you can remember Matthew Perry is by watching Friends and remembering how he made people laugh instead of the disease that killed him, or by donating to local substance use disorder um, um, places in your area, or if you are so obliged to donate to the Matthew Perry Foundation. The link to the foundation will be in the description box below.
And we hope everyone has a safe and happy fall because when this video is posted, it'll be the first day.
Okay, so to begin, Matt would like to talk about Wheel of Fortune hosting Ryan Seacrest versus Pat Sajak.
I've been watching Wheel of Fortune pretty much almost all my lifetime since I can remember watching game shows with my grandparents. And all these years, Wheel of Fortune has been on syndication ever since it first premiered on September 19th, 1983. And before that, it was one of the favorites on NBC daytime television. And all those years, 41 years in syndication, Pat Sajak was the host. It took me a long time to realize that Pat was really a hard person to get along with in the public because of his behavior and stuff. And even his daughter, Maggie Sajak, who does the Fan Fridays, had a little bit of embellishment, but she is not the most comfortable on camera either. So after all those years, when I first saw Ryan Seacrest as host of Wheel of Fortune this week, past week, I noticed immediately that he was very friendly and was really happy when the contestants could win some money, even if it was the end of the game. And that was better than their minimum $1,000 that they walk away with, even if they just show up. And Ryan has been hosting that genre of game shows even before he did American Idol. I remember him in the 90s with a couple of kids' game shows like Click, which was a Merv Griffin tribute, and also a kids' version with Maria Sanzone of the American Gladiators.
I have been a fan of Ryan Seacrest for a long time because obviously he hosted American Idol from 2001 to recently, and Carrie Underwood has taken over Ryan Seacrest for hosting American Idol. So I actually would be interested to watch American Idol now to compare when Carrie was a contestant to now when she was a host. But for the most part, I've lost interest in American Idol because I used to be a huge fan of it for many, many years. Many, many years. The last time I watched a full season of it, besides last year when Julia from Portland was on, was when Alex Preston was on in 2015. And I just lost interest after Alex Preston was on, so I didn't watch it from 2015 to last year when Julia from Portland was on. I can't. Julia Gagnon. Julia Gagnon. Okay.
So we were interested because of the talented contestants from our local area. And the winner of American Idol this past season was Abby Carter.
So next up, we are going to talk about the theater performances of
Legally Blonde.
Legally Blonde that we saw at Prescott Park Arts Festival on August 10th and Portland Players last night. So we went to see Legally Blonde at Prescott Park with Patty and Sonia at the beginning of August. Um, we were unable to talk to them before we made this video to ask them what their favorite songs were and what their favorite who their favorite characters were. So if they watch this video after we post it, we encourage them to leave a message to us in the comments
And you can
below.
leave a message in the comments of this video to see if you like any characters like we do.
Legally Blonde is apparently based on a book by um, Heather Hatch, which I didn't really realize. Um, Legally Blonde was a book. I'm only more familiar with the movie from 2001 with Reese Witherspoon, who
It
has.
was produced by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer.
So for those of you unfamiliar with Legally Blonde, though I'm not sure why you would be, Legally Blonde focuses on Elle Woods, who is a college student at UCLA who follows her ex-boyfriend Warner Huntington III to law school at Harvard Law. And basically throughout this story, um,
Elle finds it a little bit difficult to really fit in with the other students in her law class due to her lack of knowledge and not reading. When she realizes that she cannot live with being a Playboy bunny or going to parties, but eventually, based on the case of Brooke, is that her name?
Brooke Wyndham, yeah.
Brooke Wyndham, who was a fitness instructor on her law case, she eventually gets in on the action and ends up winning her case.
So, I always loved the Legally Blonde movie and the sequel that came out in 2004 called Red, White, and Blonde. And I believe there's a Legally Blonde 3. And I heard something a couple of months ago that Reese Witherspoon developed a prequel series to Legally Blonde that's on Amazon Prime. So if you all have seen the either know when the prequel series is supposed to be out, or if it's out already. If you like it, let us know because I really want to watch it because I think it would be interesting. And I would also be curious to know if Legally Blonde was set present day, what kind of court cases do you think they would be talking about? And I picture Reese. I picture Elle having her own law firm and perhaps handling like um, reproductive rights or something like that. Kind of like what they're talking about in the morning show with how they're doing a news story on the morning show, the new show on Apple TV with Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. They were doing a whole news story on the morning show in the TV show that was about them like trafficking illegal um, drugs for um, reproductive rights into the country from Mexico or something. I'm also interested to see in the comments if any of you all have watched the morning show with Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston, and let me know what you think. So back to Legally Blonde. Who are your favorite characters?
Obviously, I like Elle, but I also like Vivian, and then Elle's hopeful boyfriend Warner.
So my favorite characters in Legally Blonde are Elle, Emmett.
Oh, Emmett, that's right.
Emmett is the guy she falls in love with at law school. I don't like Vivian in the beginning, but I like how her character development arc turns around after Professor Callahan hits on Elle. Um, and I actually wrote a fan fiction a while ago that is from Vivia's point of view about what makes her so mean, and like it talks about her friendship with Elle. But my other favorite characters besides Elle and Emmett are Enid Hoops, the lesbian character who goes to Harvard.
Do you
Uh,
also like the judge?
um, the judge, I guess so. But I was gonna say I also like Paulette, and I also like um 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 oh gee now Brooke Wyndham, yeah.
Yeah, that was the one I talked to you about, the case of Brooke Wyndham, who was the fitness instructor. And the reason why I called out on the judge was because in the Portland Players production, she was played by one of the ensemble members named, I think, Brianna Lacey. So I thought she had a lot of talent, as did Alyssa Rojecki, who played Elle Woods.
So the standout characters and performance from Prescott Park were Peyton Hines as Elle Woods, AJ Gorey as Emmett Forrest, Lexi Stevens as Vivian Kensington, Sarah Joy Kane as Paulette, Taylor Fish as Brooke Wyndham, and um and then for the Portland Players production, which runs until September 29th, if you want to head over to Portland Players to go see it, we highly recommend you check it out. The cast is fabulous. Um, the outstanding performances in this talented cast were by Julia Bararaco, who played Vivian Kensington, um, Catherine Kellogg,
Who was Brooke?
who was Brooke Wyndham, um, Megan Lallier, who played Paulette, um, the dogs, Honey and Bugsy, who were Bruiser and Rufus,
Alyssa Rojecki
Alyssa
as
Rojecki
Elle
as
Woods.
Elle Woods, and Summer Pratt, who was in this summer's production of Mary Poppins as Bert as Emmett Forrest. So what are your favorite songs from Legally Blonde?
I really enjoy the Whipped into Shape one. I also like Legally Blonde, but also Chip on My Shoulder and So Much Better. What about you?
So my history with Legally Blonde, the musical, was before seeing the play. I was obviously a big fan of the cast album from the Broadway musical, and going way, way back to 2007, there was an MTV show that was on. I'm not sure if people remember this at all, but there was a TV show on MTV where they like it was like kind of like a making the musical show where they picked the cast of Legally Blonde the musical from the people who were on the MTV show, and that's how I first heard about Legally Blonde. My favorite songs from Legally Blonde have always been So Much Better, Ireland, um, um, Whipped into Shape, Bend and Snap, the Legally Blonde remix, and
And did you also like Oh My God, You Guys?
Oh My God, You Guys, and then Take It Like a Man.
Okay, so should we go on in the mini series here?
Okay, the next thing we're talking about today is our serious issue in the media miniseries, where we are going to be focusing on Daisy Jones and the Six. Matt and I have both read the book by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and we recently started watching the Amazon Prime TV show, which stars Elvis Presley's granddaughter Riley Keough in the lead role of Daisy Jones. So the serious issues that Daisy Jones and the Six talks about are infertility and substance use disorder. Um, Infertility is talked about because Karen and Graham, who are two members in the band, find out that they cannot conceive a child naturally, much like Chandler and Monica in Friends. For those of you who remember the episode, the one with the fertility test. So while we cannot really connect to that storyline personally, we think that the book, and actually we didn't watch the episode that talks about infertility yet. We're watching that one tomorrow or next week sometime. But we think that the book of Daisy Jones and the Six really handled that topic very well, and we were impressed with how Taylor Jenkins Reid wrote it. Um,
And about substance use disorder, before we go on and about that order, when you think of a band like this fictitious band, Daisy Jones, many band members and groups have had issues with drugs and alcohol over the years, so it's nothing new.
so Daisy Jones and the Six is based on a fictitious band, and I like to have the theory that they are inspired by the band from the 1970s, Fleetwood Mac, which I have always loved the music of. So I was born in 1985. He was born in 1983. Were we born after Fleetwood Mac broke up?
I think when I was born, it was shortly after Fleetwood Mac released their song Gypsy.
Okay.
And then I think it was shortly a time after when I was born when Stevie Nicks had the song Edge of 17.
So yeah, definitely we think that substance use disorder is handled very well throughout the book Daisy Jones and the Six, and we started to watch the series like in season 7 and episode 7 and episode 8, so that way we could analyze the episodes for this video. But basically I think substance use disorder is handled throughout the whole show because it shows the trajectory of how it affects Billy's performances and Billy's dedication to the band and how his fans view him.
And
So,
also Daisy and how she handled with the alcohol and drugs and parties in between their tour sessions until Daisy finally leaves the band by 1979. And
and
then she becomes a completely different person.
in the episode that we watched a couple of days ago, Simone tracks down Daisy in Greece. And what I liked the best about this episode was the setting of Greece because it made me think of Mamma Mia. And I just thought the scenery there was really pretty. Um, and we can't wait to watch more of the show. We will give the Daisy Jones and the Six TV show a rating in our November wrap up video that will be out after Thanksgiving. And for the book, I gave the rating. I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5.
And I gave it 3.5 stars.
What made it be 3.5?
Well, for some reason, I was having a little harder time really connecting with the actors and what the TV show would compare to. However, after I read about what really went on with Daisy and Billy, it was kind of like that kind of relationship where one was having a real problem and needed some help, and it just kind of was a fallback to where things were from posting other media. So, like I said, nothing new.
So, other favorite pieces of media that tackled the serious issue of substance use disorder well include The Golden Girls High Anxiety, which we rated
A B.
a B, Family Ties Say Uncle, which we rated a B plus, The Man with the Golden Arm, the movie from 1955 with Frank Sinatra, which we gave a B minus to, and the reason why we gave this movie a B minus is because of the disability representation, because the main character's wife basically fakes having a disability and being in a wheelchair, and then at the end of the movie she it is realized that she can walk. So that is why we gave that movie a lower rating. The next book I wanted to talk about is Beautiful Boy. So Destiny Sidwell recommended this book in one of her recent videos from the end of July, and I went to the library and picked it up right away. This memoir was written by a journalist named David Schiff, and it chronicles his family's dealings with their son's addiction problem. Their son's name is Nick, and like much like Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, this book had me near tears on my couch because it was just so powerful and sad, and you really feel for this family for all they went through with dealing with their son's addiction. Um, so we are going to be reviewing the movie in our November wrap up video because we are watching it on November 15th. The next book I wanted to actually mention today is Fairy Tale by Stephen King. Fairy Tale is a it's not really a horror book. It's more like thriller and fantasy mixed in together. Um, in this book, the main character's name is Charlie, and he's 17 years old, and his father is an alcoholic. So this book deals a lot with him going to the AA meetings with his dad and his dad being abusive and everything. And I'm rereading this book for the second time, and I will actually give it a more thorough review in our November wrap up as well. Two other TV episodes that we did not watch for this review series, but we have mentioned before in previous videos are season 2, episode 9 of Saved by the Bell, Jesse's Song. When I originally watched the rerun of this show when I was in high school, I remember really feeling sad for Jessie with how stressed out she was with all that was going on that made her take the caffeine pills. Um, and I really liked how Slater and Zach noticed that she had a problem and like called her out on it. So I would give that episode a B plus based on the rating last time I saw it. Last time I saw this episode of Saved by the Bell, I was 15.
Most episodes on Saved by the Bell in the original version, neither of those two boy characters would have really been the mismatch for Jesse because Zach was the one who was the narcissist. And Slater sometimes really had some disagreements with Jesse. But you're right, Janine. The way that they spotted her, now Jesse wishes she had listened to them.
Zach was very much a narcissist. I didn't really like Zach. I always liked Slater as a character, but what about Screech? You forgot Screech.
But Screech Powers, Gene. Normally, his crush was Lisa,
Oh,
and
that's
that's
true. That's
and
true.
that and Lisa thought because of Screech and the dork he was following her, she didn't really appreciate it.
Yeah, and Dustin Diamond, the actor who played Screech, he died in 2021, I think. Didn't he die of a drug overdose
I
too?
think he did.
Yeah, that was too sad. The other TV show we wanted to mention in this section of the video is Mom. Mom was on TV from 2015 to 2018 and starred Anna Faris, who played Erica, the birth mother of Monica and Chandler's twins in Friends. So this episode is called Thigh Gap and a Rack of Lamb. And in this movie, in this episode of Mom, Anna Faris and her mom, who was played by Allison Janney, who is well known for her role in the musical um, Next to Normal, which also focuses on mental health and substance use disorder. Um, they become a sponsor to somebody who is in Alcoholics Anonymous, um, who is able to get out of being an alcoholic, but then she has a relapse because she's in a codependent relationship with an alcoholic, and she dies of an overdose. So that episode was really sad because you could really see the emotions that were going through Anna Faris's mind and Allison Janney's mind. And then at the end of the episode, they have somebody from um, the drug, the DEA, in a PSA announcement at the end of the episode. about how you should be aware of addiction and be sure to look out for those you know who may have it. Um, so the final comparison we wanted to talk about today is series finale comparisons of Friends and Cougar Town. The finale of Friends was recently on Nick at Night a week and a half ago. Um, my rating of it still remains the same of A minus. I just love how the series wraps up for everybody. Uh,
But you don't like
my
how.
my favorite scene in this episode is when Monica and Chandler are adopting the twins from Erica. And I I rewatched that scene with happiness and sadness mixed together. Happiness because obviously it's a happy scene because Monica and Chandler adopt their twins, Jack and Erica. But knowing that Matthew Perry has died and he never had kids of his own, it just hurts to watch that episode back now, realizing that he would have been an amazing father if he had found the right woman to care about him and love him. But I think his addiction problem was a big issue with that, and the reason why his relationships never lasted long, and that made me really sad for him. So now we're going to talk about the Cougar Town finale,
I was about
which
to say, Janine, you said that Rachel getting on the off the plane, you would never forgive her for that scene.
so yeah, I never really liked the ending of the Friends finale with Rachel getting off the plane to Paris. The reason why I felt this way was, sure, over time, Ross does mature a little bit, but their relationship was so tedious throughout the whole entire series. I think the only thing that was connecting them together was what made Rachel get off the plane in the first place was Emma. But I am of the opinion that Rachel should have ended up with Joey instead of Ross, because basically Joey fell in love with Rachel when she was pregnant with Emma, and you could really see how much he cared about both of them. So in the fan fiction that I wrote called The One After LA, which takes place after the Joey spinoff, it's basically about Rachel and Joey planning their wedding, and Ross and Joey trying to work out child custody with Ross, who has kind of been an absent parent for most of Emma's life. Because in my fan fiction, Emma and Rachel go to Paris by themselves, and Ross stays behind to help Carol and Susan raise Ben. But after I wrote this fan fiction, I actually saw an article online that said, in an interview, Jessica Hetch and Jane Sibbett, who played Susan and Carol, they basically said in an interview that Carol and Susan got full custody of Ben and ended up moving him to London to send him to boarding school because they didn't think Ross was a very good parent. So I kind of worked aspects of their comments in that interview into my fan fiction because um in one chapter it's Emma's diary, and she mentions how they met up with Carol and Susan in Paris on school vacation, in London on school vacations, and that's how Ben and Emma connected with each other, because Ben and Emma never met each other in the play.
Okay, now let's do Cougar Town.
Okay. Okay, so the Cougar Town finale we recently watched. I would not say, I would say I was pretty underwhelmed by that finale. I mean, as a whole, I like Friends much better than Cougar Town. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, so in um, this episode starts off pretty much like the Friends finale. Like, everybody's plot lines from throughout the series are kind of wrapping up. Um, Ellie and Andy are preparing to move to the next town over to put Stan in a better school district. Um, Travis and Lori are going to move out of state to because Travis gets a new job. We don't know what really happens to Tom, the next door neighbor. And I mean, Jules and Grayson are by themselves. And then I don't know what the plot line would have wrapped up to be for the dad. But basically, in this movie, in this finale of Friends, it's Jules' birthday, and for her birthday present, she asks everybody to pretend like she's dying and act like it's her funeral. So,
And with the faking death situation, I would say that would really have some serious consequences on what other people would think. And the final scene where Jules' houses were doing their favorite thing, drinking the wine, really kind of seemed like it was a good ending for people to get back on track, but it really feel like Devine dying on her birthday. It was kind of dark and depressing.
so we gave the finale of Cougar Town a C plus for a rating and 4 stars on IMDb. As a whole, we gave Cougar Town 6 stars on IMDb, and in our rating of Friends shows that Friends actors were in after Friends, Cougar Town comes in third place after The Odd Couple and Episodes. So now we're just going to wrap up our favorite and least favorite episodes in seasons 4 through 6 of Cougar Town, because in previous videos we have discussed at length seasons 1 through 3, and also 2 season 5 episodes have been talked about in previous videos, like a diamond and a trip to Pirates Cove, so we will not talk about those again. You can go watch our previous videos, our previous monthly wrap-ups from last month and from Valentine's Day to hear our thoughts.
Okay, now let's just take a quick look at what our favorite and least favorite episodes were. Your favorite episodes were Here Comes My Girl.
Okay, no. The episodes we're talking about are bold. That's four. We're not talking about 1 through 3. We're talking about 4 through 6. The ones that are in bold.
Okay, so that was 1 to 3. You chose Flirting with Time.
Mm-hmm.
You and I Will Meet Again. Don't Fade on Me. Have Time Will Travel. Like a Diamond. Trip to Pirates Cove. Learn to Fly. Refugees. We Stand a Chance. American Dream Part B. Full Girl Boy. The Wrong Thing to Do. The Wild One Forever. And This One's Not For Me. And then your least favorite episodes were...
Okay, we're going to talk about favorite episodes first. So as I just said, we have talked about the trip to Pirates Cove and Like a Diamond in other videos. So first, we're going to start off with Flirting with Time. So Flirting with Time was the flashback episode that tells us like how the characters met each other, and we feel like the flashbacks were well utilized in this episode. It's kind of like the episode of Friends, the one with the flashbacks where Janice asks them to tell her how they all met each other. The thing that's interesting about the Friends episode with the flashbacks is that Phoebe and Monica were roommates originally, but like Phoebe is moving out, and I guess that's where she goes to live with her grandmother. But I was always interested to know, and I mean, Lisa Kudrow and Courtney Cox will never see this video, but if they somehow come across it, a question I had for them, is how Monica and Phoebe originally met each other, because that obviously always confused me about the flashback episode. Um, so yes, the next, I can't remember what You and I Will Meet Again was about, so we will skip that one for right now. Don't Fade on Me. Don't Fade on Me is the episode where Jules's father, Chick, is diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and I believe we've also mentioned this in our recent video where we talked about how Cougar Town handles serious issues. And the writing in this episode about the Alzheimer's diagnosis was fantastic, and we applaud Courtney Cox and her team from Cougar Town for the execution of this plot line and how it carries over throughout the rest of the seasons. The next episode that we wanted to talk about from season 4 that we liked was uh 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 wait a minute, where are we? Oh, Halftime Worth Travel. So this is the episode where they all travel to Hollywood, and um the scene that's really sweet is when Chick is dancing with his favorite movie star. I don't remember the movie star's name, Tippi Hedren or something. So I really liked that scene. The next episode is We Stand wait. Learning to Fly. So this is the episode where Travis helps Bobby overcome his fear of roller coasters to remember his dead grandfather, and I think that's really sweet. That was really sweet of Travis to do for his dad. Um, what about you? What did you think of that plot?
It really did kind of depict on the dad part and trying to overcome their fear of roller coasters. So I really can understand where that was coming from.
Um, the next episode is Refugees. So this is the episode where Jules and Bobby are playing detective to find Bobby's missing boat, and then it is revealed that Jules's dad, Chick, stole the boat as a prank. And the saddest scene is at the end of the episode where Chick asks Jules and Bobby how their marriage is going or how long they've been married or if they're still married, something about their marriage. And Bobby patiently reminds him that they have been divorced for 10 years. And my heart broke for Courtney Cox's character in that scene because she knew that her dad has been dealing with Alzheimer's. Um, so the next episode is We Stand a Chance, and this is the episode where we actually did mention this episode in our serious issues video because this is the substance use disorder slash medical ethics serious issue where Jules switches her urine sample with Lori's for her physical because she drank alcohol the night before her doctor's appointment, and it is revealed that Lori is pregnant and that Travis and Lori are going to have a baby. So I didn't like the whole plot about Jules having to switch the urine sample, but there the other serious issue that is mentioned in this episode is moving on in transitions because Jules obviously discovers she's going to become a grandmother, and Chick has a really sweet talk with his daughter about how proud he was to become a grandparent for the first time when Travis was born. So, what did you like the best about that episode?
Uh, I think it was where. What was the episode again?
The episode that we are talking about is We Stand a Chance.
I really think taking that risk was. I don't remember much about it. I don't.
Okay, well, the next episode is the first episode of season 6, American Dream Part B, where Jules gives up drinking because Lori is pregnant, but nobody else wants to cooperate with her. I just found that frustrating. I think everybody else should have been cooperative because they all knew that Lori was pregnant and that she couldn't drink. So instead of building a speakeasy in Tom's house, they should have just cooperated and focused on supporting their friend who was pregnant. So that episode actually kind of made me mad because they couldn't put aside their alcoholism for 1 minute to support their friend. Um, the next episode is Full Grown Boy, and this episode also tackles the serious issue of changing family dynamics, which I don't think we talked about in our serious issues wrap up video for Cougar Town because we didn't watch that episode when we filmed that video. So the irritating thing about Jules throughout the whole entire series of Cougar Town is that she is really, really emotionally attached to Travis. She's in her 40s. Travis is in his
20s.
20s. And she basically still wants to sleep in the same bed with him, which is strange. I feel like those issues should have been addressed in therapy along with her alcoholism, but that's another story. The other changing family dynamics thing in this episode is so her dad Chick does Civil War reenactments, and Jules is super concerned about him still participating in stuff like this because of his memory issues with his Alzheimer's disease. So she's trying to encourage him not to do something that he likes because she's worried he's gonna like get hurt or like forget his lines or something. Did you think Jules went a little bit too overboard in that aspect?
I think she did.
I did too.
Just a couple more, Gene. What about The Wild One Forever?
So the Wild One Forever, I'm pretty sure that was the one where Grayson is in the singing group where they're all dressed up as Italian cooks.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that episode because it made me realize how much of a personal connection I have to Grayson's character because he's a musician and an actor. So he is, to me, when we initially started to watch Cougar Town, we were comparing all of the characters in Cougar Town to characters from Friends. Cougar Town, by the way, is a standalone show from Friends and cannot be counted as a spin-off because the only character from Friends that is an actress on this show is Courtney Cox, who plays the main character of Jules Cobb. But other than that, while episodes may have similar plots and characters may have similar traits to characters in Friends, Cougar Town is a totally separate show from Friends. So, in the very early stages of watching Cougar Town, we made a chart where we compared the Cougar Town characters to Friends characters by personality traits. And for Grayson, I felt by comparison that he compared to Chandler because he was like emotionally closed off for the first couple seasons until Jules convinced him to open up in season 3, episode 14, Cry to Me. I also said he reminded me of Phoebe because he was a musician. But to be honest, he also reminds me of Joey because he's an actor. Which characters from Friends did you feel were similar to characters in Cougar Town?
I felt that Lori character played by Busy Phillips kind of have that resemblance, like you said, to with she and Travis, like Monica and Chandler.
Right. And for me, the next door neighbor Tom, who is kind of creepy and spies on them, he reminds me of a younger version of the next door neighbor, Mr. Heckles, who lives downstairs, who dies at the beginning of season 2. Since we're running low on time, I just want to mention 2 episodes that I wasn't too crazy about from the last 3 seasons of Cougar Town. The first one was Climb That Hill, which was an episode we recently watched. This was an episode where Jules reads a book for the first time because I guess she never read books in school or something. That plot line made no sense to me because how can you go through high school and college and
Never read.
real estate training school and not read a book? Like, that plot line made no sense, and that was irritating.
And then another one, Janine, that I want to mention is, can we try You Can Still Change Your Mind?
Yeah, what didn't you like about that episode?
I just didn't like how one thing could have led to another. And what were your thoughts on it?
I agree with you. I can't really look at the episode description right now because I don't have it in front of me, but I can always make a follow up video on my channel that talks about Cougar Town to talk
Right.
about this episode too.
And
So,
and the last thing we want to mention about for Cougar Town is we were talking a little bit about if there was a possibility that there would be a spin-off series for this type of show. And what
so Friends will never get a spin-off because obviously Matthew Perry is dead and it would be impossible for them to create the same kind of chemistry. But with Cougar Town, we came up with our own theories about where the characters could possibly be after the finale.
and one idea I had was about Elle and Tom.
Andy.
Andy, I'm sorry. I was thinking of them. Can I read the description?
Yeah.
I think what would happen, my idea about Andy and Ellie would be how would they get along with their own relationship and raising their child?
And would they have any other kids besides Stan?
Right.
Because in Friends, Rachel and Ross have their daughter Emma, but you never know if they had any other kids, though. In the Friends HBO reunion special in 2021, Courtney, David Schwimmer and Jennifer Aniston did confirm in one of those interviews that Ross and Rachel did end up having another child.
So this is another discussion about what goes on, the ifs and buts with marriage and parenting.
So another fan theory we came up with were where we think that the characters ended up after Cougar Town is Jules and Grayson being grandparents to Travis and Lori's baby. Also, in season 3, we briefly see that Grayson had a daughter from a previous marriage named Tampa, who who he prefers to go by her middle name Jill. So I think it would be cool if there was a spin-off show that focuses on these 3 kids, Stan, baby Bobby, and Jill, growing up, and see how like their relationships develop with each other and what the dynamic is between parents, grandparents, and children. So, I mean, I don't know if Courtney Cox is ever going to make a spin-off to Cougar Town, but if she does, that would be cool to see. Um,
So that will do it for our wrap up for September, and we hope you understand. And again, if you're not a Friends or a Cougar Town, you don't want to hear it, you can pause after we mentioned our other things.
so our next video where we do our wrap up, our cumulative wrap up of serious issues in the media, that video will be out on November 2nd, and then our fall entertainment wrap up video will be out on November 27th. So in the meantime, have a great fall, have a safe and happy Halloween and Thanksgiving. Well, actually, no, we will have a video out before Thanksgiving. So have a safe and happy Halloween, and we will see you on November 2nd.
Make sure to take a look at the foliage if you live in New England or thereabouts.